Hi friends, in today's session we are going to discuss about landslides. Now my dear friends, let us see that what is meant by landslides, how do they occur, and what are its types, what are its kind, and how these landslides play a role in our life. Yes, my dear friends, what are landslides? Now my friends, landslides are rock, earth, or debris flows on slopes due to the gravity or the gravitational force. Now they can occur on any terrain which is given on the basis of the right conditions of soil, moisture, and the angle of the slope. So the US Geological Survey is working with other federal agencies, and they have efforts underway to study, plan, and mitigate landslide risks. So have some communities too across the country which are dealing with it. So many deal with landslides as a part of flood control, erosion control, hillside management, earthquake earthquake hazard mitigation, road stabilization, and other programs too. So, my friends, perhaps the most common reminders of landslide risks are those which watch for the falling rocks highway signs, although sliding rocks is more apt and very few get to see a landslide. Occasionally, we see small rocks or debris on the pavement, but a large size slide usually starts with such small incidents only. So, visually, a landslide resembles a snow avalanche, only with a louder rumbling noise, and it is capable of generating enough force and momentum to wipe anything in its path. So, my dear friends, these are called as landslides. Yes, my friends, landslides are integral to the natural process of the Earth's surface geology. They serve to redistribute soil and sediments in a process that can be in abrupt collapses or in slow gradual slides too. Now here you can see a picture and you can clearly understand about what I'm talking about, right? So such is the nature of the Earth's surface dynamics. It is also known as mud flows, debris flows, earth failures, slope failures, etc. And they can be triggered by rains, floods, earthquakes, and other natural causes, as well as human-made causes too, such as grading, terrain cutting and filling, excessive development, etc. So my dear friends, I've presented a more clear picture of these landslides in front of you. Now, landslides occur because of the human-made causes as well, because of this more development of technology, more development of roads and construction, because the factors affecting landslides can be geophysical or human-made, and they can occur in developed areas, undeveloped areas, or any area where the terrain was altered for roads, houses, utilities, buildings, and even for lawns in one's backyard. So they occur in all 50 states with varying frequency, and more than half of the states have rates sufficient to be classified as a significant natural hazard. So my dear friends, landslides, they can cause $1 to $2 billion in damage each year. So basically I'm talking about the one such country, US. So landslides cause much damage, and that's more devastating than all the other natural hazards combined. They affect utilities, transportation, and all other forms of infrastructure, whether public or private. So my friends, as development pressures around the country increase, so does the likelihood of building in areas susceptible to landslides. And such areas are neither isolated nor far in between, as you can see clearly in this picture. They span the entire part of any country, encompassing some of the most scenic areas and as well as large urban areas too. So landslide risks through many such parts of the countries, and they occur frequently where developments on hills and hillsides are constructed or they are developing. Even in the Great Plains, heavy rains combined with loss of vegetation due to wildfires also trigger landslides in clay-rich rocky areas. For example, on the west coast, earthquakes add to the causes of landslides. For example, in 1994, Northridge earthquake triggered many thousand landslides in the Susuna Mountains. In short, no region of the country is safe from landslides, whether caused by geophysical or the human-made factors. So although the term landslide is often used somewhat loosely to mean any fairly rapid movement of rocks and sediment downslope, it is actually more accurate to use the term mass wasting to refer the wide variety of mass movement processes that wear down or wear away at the Earth's surface. So it is also called as mass wasting. Not called as, but it is referred to as mass wasting, right? So this is what we call as a landslide. Now let us see that what actually causes landslides. Yes, my dear friends, what causes landslides? Now, my friends, as we know that a landslide is a phenomenon in which soil mass on a slope moves slowly along the slip surface downward the slope under the influence of groundwater and other causes. So, since landslides occur over an extensive area, a large amount of soil mass is moved in general, it can cause serious damage. So, there are some slopes which are susceptible to landslides, whereas others are more stable. Now, my dear friends, here I have presented a diagram in front of you, which basically shows that how it occurs. Now, here I've shown it. This is a landslide, how it occurs. Now, if you consider this as a part of some region, this is called as a crown, and these are the crown cracks. Now, when the crown cracks, the surface of the land ruptures. Even the main body of the surface of the land is affected, and the toe of the surface also ruptures. And finally, what happens? The surface of separation occurs. Means because of the rupturing of the surface of the land, there is a separation of the surface. And here you can see as it looks like the footstep of an animal. This is the foot of the land which is also affected, and the toe which you can clearly see that there are cracks. These are the radial cracks which occur due to the landslide, or which gives more and more addition to the landslides. These are the transverse cracks because it occurs on this side. This is the minor scarp which occurs in between or on the head part, because of which more and more landslides can occur. So there are many physical events which occur during a landslide: the initial slope failure, the subsequent transport, and the final deposition of the slide materials. So landslides can be triggered by gradual processes such as weathering or by external mechanisms also, like undercutting of a slope by stream erosion or wave action or glaciers, or human activity such as road building, because of which transverse cracks, transverse ridges, radial cracks, and crown cracks can occur. Even the intense or prolonged rainfall, rapid snowmelt, or sharp fluctuations in the groundwater levels also affect landslides. Other than these, the shocks or vibrations caused by earthquakes or construction activity, loading on upper slopes, or a combination of all these factors trigger landslides, and they add even more and more rupturing of cracks or rupturing of the land. Now, once the landslide is triggered, material is transported by various mechanisms including sliding, flowing, and falling. So here you can see that this is a slant, means because of which sliding of land, flowing and falling can occur. So landslides often occur along planes of weakness that may parallel the hill slope, and in bedrock, planes of weakness are usually beds, joints, or fractures. So soils such as silt or clay, they are weaker than rock, and they commonly have complex or multiple planes of weakness, because of which the landslides can occur. So my dear friends, there are many such factors which contribute to the instability of slopes, but the main controlling factors are the nature of the underlying bedrock and soil, the configuration of the slope, the geometry of the slope, and the groundwater conditions. So these are some of the causes which finally affects the land, the slope failure in the glacial sediment, which results in slumps, or the parallel bedding in rock, which cause the slides, and the fracturing of rock promoting faults. So these are some of the factors which give rise to or which trigger to the landslides. Now let us have a look at the types of landslides. Now the first landslide which we are going to discuss here is the rotational landslide. Now why is it called the rotational landslide? My dear friends, this is a slide in which the surface of rupture is curved concavely upward and the slide movement is roughly rotational about an axis that is parallel to the ground surface and transverse across the slide, right? So that is why it is called the rotational landslide. The other type of landslide is that of the translational one. Now why is it called as translational? Because in this type of slide, the landslide mass moves along a roughly planar surface with little rotation or backward tilting. So here there is little rotation or the backward tilting, because of which it is termed as translational landslide. Other than the rotational and the translational landslide, there is a block slide too. Now here, block slide is a translational slide in which the moving mass consists of a single unit. Here you can see this single unit moves along this path. So the mass consists of a single unit or a few closely related units that move downslope as a relatively coherent mass. And that is why we call it as not same, but somewhat as the translational slide. But the difference between the two is that the block slide is sometimes it consists of the single unit, but the translational one, the whole landslide mass moves along the roughly planar surface. Now other than this, there is a rock fall. Now here falls are abrupt movements of masses of geologic materials such as rocks and boulders that become detached from steep slopes or cliffs. So what happens that the separation occurs along discontinuities such as fractures, joints and bedding planes, and movement occurs by free fall, bouncing and rolling. So rock falls are strongly influenced by gravity, by mechanical weathering and by the presence of interstitial water. That is why it is called as rock fall. Another type of the landslide is that of the topple. Now toppling failures are distinguished by the forward rotation of the unit. Now here you can see this is the direct fall. So this is also termed as the forward rotation of one unit or units about some pivotal point below or low in the unit under the actions of gravity and forces which are exerted by adjacent units or by fluids in the cracks. And that is why it is termed as topple. Another one is the debris flow. Now here, a debris flow is a form of rapid mass movement in which a combination of loose soil, rock, organic matter, air and water, they mobilize as a slurry that flows downslope. So it mobilizes as a slurry. Now debris flows they include less than 50% fines. Now, debris flows are commonly caused by intense surface water flow due to heavy precipitation or rapid snow melt that erodes and mobilizes loose soil or rock on steep slopes. Here you can see that this is a steep slope, right? So, debris flows also commonly mobilize from other types of landslides that occur on steep slopes, and they are nearly saturated and they consist of a large proportion of silt and sand sized material. So these are the ones in which the debris flow source areas are often associated with steep gullies, or the debris flow deposits are usually indicated by the presence of debris fans at the mouth of gullies. So fires that denude the slopes of vegetation intensify the susceptibility of slopes to debris flow. And this is how the debris flow occur. Other than these, there is debris avalanche. Means, as I said before, that landslide is same as the avalanche. Avalanche is the presence of snow. The sliding occurs because of the presence of snow. Here there is a sliding of rock, earth or debris flow, right? Or a land. So this is a variety of very rapid to extremely rapid debris flow. So this is also a type of landslide which occurs. Another one is the earth flow. As we discussed that landslides are rock, earth or the debris flow, right? So earth flows have a characteristic hourglass shape. Here you can see this. So what it looks like an hourglass shape. So this type of shape means the slope material liquefies and runs out, forming a bowl or the depression at the head. So the flow itself is elongated and usually it occurs in a fine grained material or clay bearing rocks on moderate slopes and under saturated conditions. However, dry flows of granular material are also possible in it. Right? So this is earth flow. Other than the earth flow, there is creep. Creep means it is imperceptibly slow, steady, downward movement of slope forming soil or rock. So here you can see curved tree trunks. This is the tilted pole. Here you can see some soil ripples. Right? So creep is the steady downward movement of slope forming soil or rock. So here we can say that movement is caused by shear stress sufficient to produce permanent deformation but too small to produce shear failure. So there are many types of creep that occur. So this is also a type of a landslide. The last one which we are discussing is the lateral spread. Now lateral spreads are distinctive because they usually occur on very gentle slopes or flat terrain. Here you can see in the picture that this is a flat terrain. So the dominant mode of movement is lateral extension, which is accompanied by shear or tensile fractures, and that is why it is named as that. The failure is caused by liquefaction and the process whereby saturated, loose or cohesionless sediments are transformed from a solid into a liquefied state. So failure is usually triggered by rapid ground motion such as that experienced during an earthquake, but it can also be artificially induced. So this is one such type of landslide in which often the initial failure is a slump, but in some materials movement occurs for no apparent reason. So this is something which we can call as the combination of two or more of the above types, and it is also called as the complex landslide. Right? So that was all about the types of landslides. Now let us see that what kind or what are the damages which occur due to landslides. Yes, my dear friends, damages definitely occur due to the natural calamities. so is the damages which occur or which are caused due to landslides too. So these are some of the damages, serious damages which occur due to the landslides. Now on existing landslides or old or recent landslides, there are areas that are generally prone to landslides. So the damages which occur is that trees fall, the ground is cracked and becomes uneven, because of which more landslides can occur. Then electric supply, sorry, this is SUPPLY. So electric supply is stopped due to the cutoff or electric lines. Then water which is pooled in the upstream area also submerges houses in the water. Then factories are destroyed. Even the landslides block the river such as natural dam. Even bridges are crushed, roads are cut, blocking the traffic. Dams retaining sediment are collapsed, thus causing floods downstream. Then houses are destroyed, schools and hospitals are destroyed. Rice paddies or fields and orchards are also damaged. So there are many such serious damages which occur due to landslides. So we should definitely take care of all these things, that how we can prevent or how we can take such precautionary steps due to the occurrence of the before the occurrence of the landslides, right? So that was all about the landslides. I hope you enjoyed this session learning about landslides. We'll meet in the next session with a new topic. Till then, take care. Have a nice time.